Today I am in the City of London. I'm actually in Liverpool Street Station here, which is right in the heart of the financial district. Got all the skyscrapers, all the finance guys. There's a red London bus behind me here. And the reason why I'm here is to go to one of the most spectacular Wetherspoons pubs in the whole of the UK. This place is called Hamilton Hall, which is just behind me here. And it was previously the Ballroom of the Great Eastern Hotel. Well, that was back in 1884 when the Great Eastern Hotel was built as part of Liverpool Street Station. And this ballroom was special because when first-class commuters used to come in, they had a special way of getting straight in here. They didn't have to mix with all of the public. They could just go straight in here and then check into the Great Eastern Hotel itself. Now, the Great Eastern Hotel operated as a hotel for around about 100 years, but in the 1980s it fell into disrepair, it went bust, and this place was abandoned. So Wetherspoons decided that they wanted to open a pub here because there is a huge amount of footfall. There's lots of people constantly coming and going from the station behind me. So around about 200,000 people per day go through this station because it's the main gateway to Essex. So all the people who live in Essex, who work in the city earning millions of pounds, they come in every day, they commute, and this looked like a good place to open a pub. And it's proved to be correct because this is actually one of Wetherspoons' busiest pubs in the whole of the UK. It serves thousands, tens of thousands of people on some days. And when you come here in the evening, if you come on a Thursday or a Friday night, it is absolutely rammed. And in fact, they've got a lot of outside space here. You can see I'm standing in the sort of beer garden area here. This place will just be full of bodies later today. There'll just be people everywhere standing out here, having a pint, having a chat. But as you know, Wetherspoons also serves food, and that's what I'm here to have a look at. And today I'm going to check out the breakfast because since I posted the first video on Wetherspoons, so many people have been messaging me saying, I love the breakfast, you need to try the breakfast, go in, try the breakfast. Now, I'm here today to have a traditional full English breakfast. And I know there are a variety of different options on the menu. I'm going to go for just a standard traditional one. I'm not going to go for a large or a small or anything too funky. So let's go inside and check out what the food's all about. So here I am inside the pub itself, and this place is spectacular. You can see why it was a ballroom back in 1884. This place is huge. It's got incredibly high ceilings, really big chandeliers, a very ornate ceiling. There's lots of sort of cherubs and angels and stuff on this ceiling. Really very large, this place. It's quite grand, as you would imagine, being a former ballroom. And Wetherspoons have done a great job converting it into a pub. You can see this bar here. It's sort of in keeping with the ballroom concept. It looks quite flash, quite upmarket. There's a mezzanine level upstairs that you can go to. Got really tall windows here, floor to ceiling windows. But I mean, this place is opulent. You could imagine back in the day. Now, back in the day, because this is linked to Liverpool Street Station, there was actually a special corridor that led straight from the first class carriages on the trains into this ballroom. So you got basically special entry into this place. You didn't have to mix with the proletariat and go in all of there. So let's go in and see what the food's like, see whether or not it lives up to the ballroom itself. So here I am at my table with my traditional breakfast. Now, there were lots of different options on the menu. Tons of different breakfast options. I mean, it's incredible, really. Could have gone for a small breakfast. There was traditional breakfast and a large breakfast. I went for the traditional, which on the menu says it's a fried egg, bacon, Lincolnshire sausage, baked beans, 2 hash browns, and a slice of toast. And I've also ordered a side of refillable tea. So basically, you can come here all day. There's a station over there where you basically serve your own tea. So there's basically tons of tea bags, hot water, there's coffee, hot chocolate, water. So I've got a glass of water as well, which is free. It's unlimited refills all day for £1.81, which is, I mean, that's unbeatable value. You can't get that anywhere in the world. But let me get into my traditional breakfast because in the previous video that I posted, everybody was complaining that I'd let the food go cold because I was talking too long before I actually ate any of the food. So Here's my toast, which looks pretty good. It's one slice, but it's cut in two, so 2 pieces, very good. Here's the rest of the breakfast. So I've got, this is traditional, so it could have gone larger, but I've got 1 sausage, 1 piece of bacon, or 2 pieces of bacon, fried egg, 2 hash browns, the toast, and the beans, and a packet of Lurpak butter. So let's start off with the egg. Let's see how well the egg toast. I mean, it's very well presented. It's nicely fried. I don't like it when it's too fatty, when it's too crispy. So let's just see if I cut this egg. Okay, so it's runny. That's good. Yeah, it's been cooked well. I have to say the service here was incredible. I ordered this food. It's just before lunchtime, so I've come in right at the end of the breakfast service to get the breakfast. And I ordered it, and literally 5 minutes after I placed it, well, 1 minute after I placed the order, I got the teacup. I went over and got my own cup of tea, and then 5 minutes later, I've got this. That egg is really nice. That's really well cooked. Let's try the sausage. So it's nicely cooked. Yep, nice and brown, not too burnt, not too overdone. Let's see. So it looks like it's got good meat content. Yep, it's pretty. Looks nice, not fatty. That is a very, very tasty sausage. Let's have some of the beans with the sausage, just to see what the beans are like. So they come in a little pot, which I quite like because it contains the bean juice. One of the feedbacks I had from somebody who watched the previous breakfast video that I posted was that you have to keep the egg and the beans separate. They were proposing using a sausage as a barrier. You don't have to use that here because I've got a little pot to keep everything in. Let's just talk about those beans for a second. So quite a lot of juice in there, which I like because then you can use it for other things. Obviously not Heinz baked beans. I'm not sure what brand they are, but they're a bit watery. I mean, they're okay. They're okay. They're okay. They're not the best beans I've ever had, but they're okay. I've certainly had a lot worse. In fact, at the Worsley, which is meant to be the best breakfast in London, the beans are significantly less tasty than that. Let's try this bacon. Now, for starters, this bacon is back bacon. So when I went to the Worsley, so you can see here it's like mostly meat. When I went to the Worsley, they gave me streaky bacon. I prefer back bacon with my breakfast. It's more meaty, it's more tasty. And it's been well cooked, so I like it like this. It's not been overcooked, it's not crispy, but it is fully cooked. That's nice. It's not smoked. It's quite salty, but I think for a breakfast like this, salty bacon is probably what you want. I'll have a bit of bacon with egg because that's the classic combo. Bacon, egg mixture. That works really well together. You get the juiciness of the egg, a little bit of moisture with the saltiness of the bacon. Really good. Let's have a look at these hash browns. So I've got 2 hash browns, so it's more cooked on one side than the other, but looks pretty good. Not too fatty. I don't like it when you press it and there's oil coming out of it. Let's open up one of these, so it's like, looks pretty fluffy inside. Yeah, it's got a good filling in it. Crispy on the outside, light and fluffy on the inside. Got a good taste, doesn't taste too fatty. That's a good hash brown. I like that. Let me have a bit of that with the beans. So, because really the beans, even though I've been a bit harsh on the beans are really just a supplement to have alongside everything else. You don't really have just the beans on their own. You'd have things with the beans. That's a really good combination, the hash brown and the beans. Definitely like that. But the beans have gone up in status a little bit if you mix it with other things. Okay, let's try the toast. Now, apologies because I've left the toast to the end, so it's probably going to have gone a bit cold. Toast goes cold pretty quickly anyway. Let's get some of the Lurpak. Now, the Lurpak's really easy to spread. You can see that it's, let me just pour it out because it's been sitting next to the hot food, so it's pretty runny. But that's good because There's nothing worse than having butter that you can't spread. The toast, lightly toasted, so it's not overly toasted. It's on the verge of being toast, somewhere between toast and bread. Tastes nice, it's good. It's a bit cold, but obviously that's probably my fault for leaving it to the end. Little bit less toasted than I would normally have it, so that's on the outskirts of bread, I would say. It looks toasted on that side, this side not so much. Soft, chewy, it's really tasty though. And again, if you mix it in with the beans, you know, beans on toast being a classic British dish, that's really tasty actually. These beans are a really good addition to this breakfast because they just give you that moisture, because everything else is a little bit dry. Now the other things about Wetherspoons is that they have all of the condiments over there on a station, which a lot of people had mentioned to me last time. So they've got genuine HP sauce, they had HP red sauce as well. We've got Heinz hot mustard, so I'm going to have both of these just as a little bit of a supplement, because I do like a bit of sauce with my breakfast. I do prefer brown. I know a lot of people, it's the main debate in the UK, do you have brown or red sauce with your full English breakfast? I prefer brown. That's the ticket. And they have egg, bacon and a bit of brown sauce is really, I think, the quintessential flavour of British breakfast. That's what I associate the taste of. So I'll put a bit of that brown sauce on there. If you've never tried it, that is a winning combination. Egg, bacon and brown sauce. So basically you get the meaty texture of the bacon and the saltiness coming through here, the softness of the egg with some of the juice from the egg, and then the brown sauce gives it that extra bit of kick, which I really like. Talking of kick, I'm now going to try a bit of sausage with this mustard and a bit of brown sauce, and a bit of egg. So that's the thing with an English breakfast. It's not just about eating the things individually, because everybody's had a sausage, everybody's had a bacon, you know, we've all had the things individually. But when you combine the tastes and the flavours, that's the winning combination. That's why the British love it. That's why we've been having it for hundreds of years. This dates back to the Victorian era. In fact, even before that, when people were going and working all day, they'd have a big hearty breakfast so that they wouldn't have anything to eat for the rest of the day. So you'd have enough calories and food to keep you going. It's these sort of combinations why people still love it today. Mustard, brown sauce, sausage, egg. That, if you've never tried it, is a must try. Next time you have an English breakfast, get some English mustard, get brown sauce, mix it all together. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I'm going to finish the rest of this, and I'll see you outside for the wrap up. Okay, so I've now finished my traditional breakfast here at Hamilton Hall next to Liverpool Street Station. What did I think? Well, as you saw, I had one sausage, 2 pieces of bacon, 1 egg, 2 hash browns, piece of toast and a pot of beans, served with a separate portion of tea that I had to pay extra for the tea. Not very much extra, but we'll come on to the prices in a moment. So what did I think of the food before we get into the bill? Well, I have to say, this was an excellent breakfast. I came here slightly nervous that if I got a really poor breakfast that I'd have to report negatively, and I know so many of you love the breakfast offering here. But glad to say that it was really good. So sausage was tasty, well cooked, meaty, exactly what I want from a sausage. The 2 pieces of back bacon, if you've been watching the channel, you'll know that the Worsley, which charged me almost £30 for breakfast, gave me 2 pieces of streaky bacon that wasn't even very well cooked. So I had proper back bacon here, which is what you want on a traditional English breakfast. That was really well cooked, really tasty, bit salty, but you know, I think that's par for the course if you're having a full English breakfast. The beans, they were a little bit watery, not quite as tasty as Heinz baked beans. However, as I found, if you start mixing them in with all of the other flavours, that's the key to getting a tasty breakfast. The egg, really nicely done. It wasn't all spread out, because sometimes you get a fried egg and it's like massive on the plate and all thin and all crispy on the edges. Don't like that. It looked a little bit like a poached egg, but when you cut into that yolk, it was nice and runny. So perfect, just what you want on English breakfast. The hash browns, well cooked, nice, fluffy inside, crisp on the outside, just what you want. The toast, it was a bit undercooked for me. It was a bit white, it was a bit floppy, you know, if I held it up, it sort of sagged a little bit. But the bread was tasty, and combined with everything else, it was nice, it was good. And the tea alongside it is unlimited. I could still be in there now having my 50th cup of tea of the day. And they had decaf, so you could do it if you wanted to. In fact, if you're one of those people who likes to go out with their laptop and do all your work, if you're sitting in a coffee shop for 12 hours and you have one coffee, you could come to Wetherspoons. It's quiet in there because they don't have any music, so you'd be able to concentrate. You'd be able to get your own table, and you could have unlimited hot drinks. So you can have tea and coffee and water unlimited. And that's for the price of £1.81. That is unbelievable. £1.81 is cheaper than you would pay anywhere around here. In the city here, it's very expensive. This is probably the most expensive part of London, because you've got all of these people who are super wealthy coming in on the train, they're here for a meeting, they're grabbing and going stuff. So you would pay for a cup of tea, if you were getting it from places like Pret a Manger, Starbucks, or those sort of places, it would be close to £5 for a takeaway, one cup of tea. Here, £1.81, unlimited all day. You could sit with your laptop all day and night, and you could just pay £1.81 for the whole thing. So that's a tip for the top for anyone who wants to do that. Don't do it, because you'll be taking up valuable space from people like me that want to come in and have something to eat. But anyway, that's by the way. So £1.81 for the tea, and the breakfast itself was £6.71, which again is so cheap. That is incredible, particularly given where we are. £6.71 might be more than you're paying somewhere else in the UK. So the traditional breakfast might be cheaper in your local Wetherspoons, but for where we are here, that is an absolute steal. You would struggle to get anything for that sort of price in any of the pubs around here. Maybe the toast would be that sort of level. So in total, I paid £8.52 for that really big traditional breakfast with unlimited tea. Now, from a financial point of view, that is a no-brainer. That is the best deal that I will have anytime this week, probably anytime this month. In terms of the food and how I feel now, I feel good. You know, sometimes after a full English, you can come away, if it's a bit greasy, a bit heavy, you think, I wish I hadn't had that, I feel a bit sick, you know, I'd rather have done something else. I don't feel like that. I feel fine, I feel fueled up, ready to go for the rest of the day. So all in all, this has been a great experience. I think the food here has been good. Inside this place is incredible. If you've never been, just come and check out the architecture, because it's amazing in there. Wetherspoons took this on in 1991, and they, as part of that deal, they had to renovate everything back to its former glory. This is actually a Grade 2 listed building, so that means that you can't make any changes. You have to get approval from the authorities to do anything to this structure. So that's why it still looks like it does. It still looks like a ballroom from back in the 19th century, because that's what Wetherspoons had to do, but they've done it really well. They've actually converted it really sympathetically. So whilst it is a Wetherspoons pub, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like a very grand space, really high ceilings. They put the mezzanine level in, which is useful. That's where I went and had my food. A bit more private, a bit quieter up there, but it's quiet all through at the moment. Won't be later, it'll be rammed. But they've done a great job converting this back in 1991, and they operate this on a lease. They don't own it because it's owned by National Rail, this whole building. There's a hotel above, which has now been reopened since the old one closed in the 1980s. So this has been a great regeneration area. This is a very, very busy location next to this station. One of the busiest Wetherspoons in the UK, but my overall assessment is that this has been a great breakfast. Very, very impressed. What's the score? Well, I have to score it in breakfast terms. So I'm not comparing it to lunch or evening meal. This is in the world of breakfast. Well, from a bargain point of view, this has to be a 10 out of 10 from the finance point of view. You won't get a better deal than what I've just paid there for anything, anywhere. In terms of the quality, it was really good. So I was happy with the sausage. It wasn't the best sausage I've ever had. I have had tastier, more premium sausages, but it was pretty decent. The bacon was good, a bit salty, good. The beans, a little bit watery. The egg was good. Hash browns were good. The toast, not so great. I would give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. And as you know, anything that scores 7.5 plus, I would come here in a heartbeat. And I would definitely come back and have another breakfast here. And in fact, I might. So let me know what you think of these Wetherspoons reviews, because I've done 2 now. The first one was really popular. And I thought I'd come back and do breakfast. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do the lunch. I'm going to do a few of the clubs that they have. They have Curry Club, Pizza Club, Burger Club, all of those sort of things. Going to do the clubs and all of those sort of things. But I'm actually thinking about maybe going to every single London location. I think there's 17 in central London. So let me know what you think about that, whether you'd like me to go check out all the different Wetherspoons, talk to you a little bit about the history, what's behind it. Oh, I haven't mentioned the Hamilton Hall, why it's called Hamilton Hall. The reason why it's called Hamilton Hall is that Lord Hamilton, who was actually the chairman of the Great Eastern Railway that built Liverpool Street Station and these buildings, he was the guy behind it all. So Wetherspoons, they're always looking to tie these places back into the history and the lineage, and they called it Hamilton Hall in honour of Lord Hamilton, who was basically the creator of all of these buildings. So that's a little bit of history. So let me know if you'd like me to share some of that history with all of the other London locations, and I'll get round and do them all. But thank you very much for watching this video all the way through to the end. Give me a thumbs up if you've liked the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you again on the next.